We are Wilson.
We are Wilson.
Well, thank you guys. How are you enjoying Rock on the Range so far?
Oh, we're loving it. I mean, other than the rain, but you know what? At the same time, I think I like this weather. When it's 90 degrees and humid and hot, it could be a little unbearable.
That's always like a little miserable for a festival, I think, when it's that hot.
Yeah, definitely. So you can either get a little bit wet or sunburned. It's, I guess, your preference. But hey, I'm having a great time.
Hi.
So, can we talk about your hilarious music videos?
Of course.
It's great. What goes into that?
If you're talking about College Gangbang?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so that music video was done at a metal frat house in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
There's such a thing. No.
Oh, it's a metal frat house, and all these kids are metalheads. And some buddies of ours live there, and we're like, hey, man, we're shooting a video. They're like, hey, have the party at our house. So all of our best friends, all their friends came. We had one big party, and as the party was going on, they basically picked a few people out for certain scenes, and it was just like everyone do their thing, and so it was a bunch of debauchery.
How fun was that? So, is there anything behind the scenes fun stories?
Shit, behind the scenes stuff.
It's hard to remember the whole thing, but I think sooner or later we're going to put together a behind-the-scenes video, actually. So I know it's been a while.
Spare footage on my phone from that whole thing. I think a lot of us do. So
yeah, a lot of flesh on that spare footage.
There's another video coming out soon. So that's I can say that.
Silent right now.
That's what everybody says, man. They're like, we can't talk about it.
And we've been writing a lot. I don't know what that means, but we've been writing.
So with the last album that you guys are touring, can you take me in the studio for the recording process and tell me one or two tracks in particular what the mindset was like?
Talking about Viking. That was the first one.
Yeah, Viking Pussies, Fuck Off. It's it's like 42, 47 seconds long. And that song was basically kind of finished in the studio. It was just really interesting putting it all together.
Personify intensity, the whole song in general. I don't know, he was thrown in the recording booth as if it were like a sweat box pretty much, and just did the whole thing in one take. Just real intense.
Yeah, I'll be honest, out of all the songs that we recorded on that album, that was the song where I was actually headbanging the whole time I was recording it. But it was, like you said, I was sweating my balls off doing it, and, California studio, no AC.
Wow.
July, I think. Yeah, it was.
That had to be pretty brutal.
Oh, yeah. It's great, though.
So if you had to list one thing that was possibly misunderstood about the band, what would it be?
What do you think?
Where do you think our band name comes from?
That is a great question.
That's a question for you. Where do you think?
I think it comes from. Could it be that volleyball that the guy talks about?
That right there is the answer to your question. That would be the most common misconception about our band. That it was named after the volleyball in Castaway.
Wilson!
I've never heard one person ever say Castaway. Everyone's like, are you named after the volleyball in that Tom Hanks movie? That's it every time.
Yeah, for everyone that doesn't, it's Castaway. It's Castaway.
That's the fucking movie name.
But if you want to know, do you want to know the actual?
I do want to know.
I don't know if you were leading to that.
Of course I do.
It's not after the volleyball. It's not after Home Improvement, Mr. Wilson. Did anyone ever see his face before?
You see the top half or the bottom half in one episode.
All right, but when the band started, I was at a party at MSU, Michigan State's campus, and we had a few songs, and a buddy of mine was like, hey, man, you're in a band, right? I was like, I guess. You want to play a show? And I was like, all right, what's the name? Bam. First thing that came to my head. I mean, subconscious, I don't know.
I get stuck, so...
Yeah, I mean, subconscious thing just popped out of my head, and that was it. It just kind of went from there. It was a name for a flyer, and it just went. It just kept going.
Well, maybe now people will get it right and not think that it's Castaway.
They still will. They still will.
We were named after the volleyball in Castaway.
The bitter truth.
So for each one of you, do you have a pivotal music moment that occurred in your life that made you decide you wanted to play?
Yeah, my pivotal music moment, I guess, was watching one of my best friends, Matt Pollock, play guitar in a high school talent show. I was just like, that's really cool. I want to play guitar. And then I started playing guitar.
I'd say the biggest thing was I watched my older brother learn a Nirvana song by ear on a tape player back in the day, and it was like one of the coolest things being like, you can actually learn by listening. You don't need to read the music. Because I don't know shit about reading music, I'm all ears. And it was very inspirational, and then a buddy of mine like his played a talent show, and I'm like, I want to do this. I want to be that guy. And, we're doing it, I guess. I mean,
that's always fascinating to me. I couldn't even imagine being able to try and pick up an instrument and just play. Some people have it and other people don't have it.
Yeah. Well, and one of the coolest things is,
No matter who you are,
and one of the greatest things is when you hook up with that person again later on, you just tell them, be like, hey man, you are the reason that I'm like kind of doing this right now. And they're like, what do you mean, man? What are you talking about? I'm like, no, seriously, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here right now. So.
What do you prefer about the festival environment versus the club shows?
Outdoors is always fun. I mean,
I guess a festival crowd is like no other. It's just there's no real rules. Like the other day, we watched the guy faceplant in a bunch of gravel, get up, fall into a mound of dirt, look around, and then run over the train tracks, and he never came back. So I mean, you don't see that in a venue.
He's the guy that I saw limping out of the parking lot last night. Could very well be.
I don't know, but I mean, you don't see that in a venue. You only see that at like festivals. So.
Being that we're a pop culture based site and we focus on the positive and negative of pop culture, is there anything in particular that angers or fascinates you about pop culture?
Well, I don't want to like call out a whole genre here, but just electronic music. It kind of walks a fine line with all of us. Like, I don't know, like just those big festivals have become more about like intense drugs and just, I don't know, something about it. That whole, I got nothing to say about it, I guess. I don't have much to say here.
I think he's right. I mean,
we like raw music, just music made with your instruments, like live on stage. We don't have any backtracks. We don't have any of that stuff. It's just.
I think that I love that perfectly imperfect sound that bands have, and when it's too polished, it doesn't give the same appeal to it. We had the weird experience at Voodoo in New Orleans of having like Calvin Harris and Nine Inch Nails and Billy Squier all on at exactly the same time, and it was like the weirdest blending of noise. Like, it was just ridiculous. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for taking a few minutes to speak with me. I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll catch up again.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.